Okay, good morning to all.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. So let us start the discussion. Let us continue our discussion on machine learning lectures, specifically on Bayesian estimation now. So far we have discussed about Bayesian classification. We have seen given the previous likelihoods and how do we make use of them for classification, Bayesian classification, either using posterior or including the class factors using the rest for classification. Okay, in this class, we will see in real scenarios, do we get this or what more estimations or what more things we have to consider. So we will try to approach to more practical scenario or real scenario in this class. Okay, given the basic formulation of Bayesian classification for supervised classification. Okay, so I am sharing the screen now. You're able to see, I think.
Yes, sir, I can see.
Yeah, so what we discuss in this class is how to get the likelihoods itself. Okay, in real scenarios, as I mentioned before, okay, we will only have real samples. So this is referred to as maximum likelihood estimation. Okay, we will see what this is and what this is needed, why this is needed. Okay, so assume that in real scenario, we are given some samples, x1, first sample, so x1 to xd. Okay, it has d features, but the sample index is super index now. Okay, so sometimes based on the convenience, I may use this as subindex as well. But for initial discussions to distinguish well, I am putting it as superindex xn. So we have now n samples. Okay, for a classification problem. Among these n samples, all may not belongs to a single class. Okay, so for example, among this, so x1 to say xm. Okay, where m is less than n, belongs to omega 1 class A, just for our convenience. Xm plus 1 to xn belongs to omega 2 class. Okay, so here m is less than n anyway. Okay, so this is the scenario. So now this we can do through measurements. That means, say if we have FIS classification, we can measure the length and width and lightness and so on, some features of all the 100 samples or 200 samples or as many samples at our hand. Okay, similarly, we can do the same for even face recognition. We can say find out the average intensity of the face region. Okay, we can see the location of eyes, distance between eyes and nose. Okay, some such features we can extract in any given scenario. Okay, so given this, we can get the features or the feature vectors for all the samples. Okay, in the real scenario, that's only we can afford to get. But from this, it is not very straightforward to get the likelihoods P of x given omega 1 and P of x given omega 2. What do you think? Who will give this? So given these samples and these likelihoods, okay, what do you think is the relation? Okay, I will anyway discuss some aspects. Okay, but before I discuss, I just want to have one or two thoughts of yours. So given these features, vectors or samples, okay, of class 1 and class 2, how do we get this P of x given omega 1 and P of x given omega 2? Any inputs from any student?
Sir, we could plot these and maybe find out if it matches a certain distribution.
Okay, plot these means you mean I need to plot what? So can you be a little more explicit? I your answer, but Yeah.
we can take a particular feature and then plot
Assume
all
that
the samples.
in a feature x1. Okay, so for time being, even I may assume that this is only one-dimensional feature. Okay, to make my discussion simple. Fine. Then,
Now we plot all the n samples on this.
okay, on n samples, assume that I have plotted. It has come something like this. All the n samples. From this, what do you think I will make out? This
If
is
it,
all the n samples. What is the plot I have plotted here?
This is histogram.
Huh?
Is it a histogram, sir?
Yeah, frequency or count of samples. Samples. Okay. Having that feature value. Correct? This we are calling it as histogram. Is this fine?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is fine. I assume that I have plotted this. But from this, what do you think I will make out?
If the distribution seems Gaussian, then
Okay,
we can
okay,
get the mean and variance
okay.
from
But
the plot itself.
see, the question is, I need what? What do I need for my classification, Bayesian classification? And what did I plot? Mathematically, what is this?
Likelihood.
F of x.
P of what?
X1 given omega.
Huh?
P of x1 given some class.
Okay. P of x given some class. How do I get some class? This is omega 1 class. I can't write omega 1 or omega 2 here because I have taken all samples. Am I correct or not?
Yes, sir.
So what should I do?
We plot only from x1 to xm on one plot.
Right. So
And
I need to anyway get the histogram. That is correct. Okay. But which sample should I take? Is the samples of only one class if I take. Okay. So this let it be P of only, okay, x given omega 1. That is omega 1 samples only. I have taken for plotting this samples from x1 to taking the samples of x1 to, okay, to I will write xm. Okay. So using these samples, I have plotted this. Okay, this is the Laplace likelihood of P of x given omega 1. Okay, and then I assume that I have also plotted P of x given omega 2. Okay, so it has come like this. Okay, this is P of x given omega 2. That means I have taken only omega 2 class samples to plot this P of, okay, x given omega 2. So in both cases, I have plotted the class frequencies. Okay, frequencies are count of samples having that feature value. And in addition to this, what should I write here? That feature value in that class. Yes, yes or no? So these samples I have taken and plotted. See, I usually denote these samples with say D1 for class class 1 samples. Okay, let this be D1. This set of samples. Let this be D2. Okay, all samples put together, x1 to xn. Let this be D. Okay, D be the whole set of samples. Okay, right. So now, given this scenario, we have plotted the histograms and got some rough likelihood densities. But now the next question is, see, will this always look like a Gaussian or any mathematical form of the density? See, this may look roughly to Gaussian, but it's not exactly Gaussian again, right? And this may not, see, second density, if you see, this may not look like any density. So then what should I do? To apply my knowledge of Bayesian classification, okay, like likelihood based decision or posterior based decision and so on. What should I do? Hmm?
We could find out what distribution that is most similar to
Okay.
whatever plot we make.
Okay, we find out that Gaussian is similar, fine, but it is not exactly Gaussian. In that case, what should I do?
Sir, do we need the distribution if we just need to find P of x given omega 2? I mean,
Right. Then see, in practical cases, when you directly compare, okay, you don't need. But if you want to say analyze the things with more rigor, you need to show the decision boundary. Okay, you need to understand the nature of decision boundary. Then you need the mathematics. Okay, mathematical densities. In most of the cases, people like to associate a mathematical likelihood because that generalizes more. See, if I take like this, see, there may be some spurious measurements where I may have a peak here. Okay, but this peak is not a real peak, or I may have a peak instead of here. Okay, I may have a peak even here. So suddenly there may be a peak here. Okay, in the density. This is because of the measurement errors. So if I make a model, it roughly generalizes it, okay, and makes a model means generalizes it and knocks out the effect of spurious samples. So for that reason as well, people prefer, okay, to model that distribute with some mathematical distribution, okay, and get the intuition, get the analysis, solve the decision boundaries, take a decision. So now assume that I want to fit mathematical model, okay, given these reasons. Now, say for example, to simplify our discussion, we want to consider to fit a Gaussian model. Okay, so assume that I want to fit P of x given omega 1. Okay, I just want to fit some, okay, mean and variance. So in one dimension I am discussing, so let me put mu1 and sigma 1 square. Okay, similarly, I need to fit again, okay, mu2 and sigma 2 square for P of x given omega 2. This, now, how do I get these parameters? Okay, so how mu1 and sigma 1 square can be obtained? That is the question. Any answer?
So we can take the sample mean and variance.
Right. You can take the sample mean and sample variance, fine, but what are the grounds for doing it? See, there should be, see, I am fitting anyway mathematical model. So there should be some mathematical grounds for it. Okay, can't simply take like that, right? So if I say if this is, if I want to fit a mathematical model for this, okay, assume that, okay, this is a rough mathematical model. Okay, so but for this I need to find mean and variance. See, the sample mean and this is a mathematical model. This is say n of, okay, mu2 comma sigma 2. Okay, so for this, there is no guarantee that the sample mean and sample variance or its mean and variance. Its mean and variance are the fitted, like for this closer approximation of Gaussian. So we need a like mathematical analysis or mathematical backup to show that, okay, sample mean and sample variance fit here. And in general, in many cases, in all the cases, it may not be true. Okay, in case if this is say, if they are exponentially distributed, if they say, if it is something like this, okay, if the samples are like this, I may fit a related distribution here, but in that case, sample mean and sample variance may not be correct definitions, okay, for the parameters of that distribution, right? So we need a general procedure to find out the parameters of the distribution. So we want to fit mathematical distribution, fine, okay, need a general procedure. What do you think is that?
maybe we can use like hypothesis testing, T distribution or Z distribution.
Okay, so let us see, let us not get into the statistics, okay, but we will see a little bit of intuition to get this. So using this likelihood itself, we would like to figure out. Okay, see from where these samples are coming. So these say from where these parameters should come, we are fitting these to P of X given omega 1. That means, okay, mu1 and sigma 1 square has to be estimated, okay, from where?
Training data, sir.
Huh?
X1 from X1 to Xn.
What is that? From samples D1. Because see what we have, okay, are the samples only D1. So mu1 and sigma 1 square, the parameters are to be estimated from the corresponding samples. Do you agree with that or not? See, if I want to find mu2 and sigma 2 square, I will estimate from D2. Okay, similarly, mu I and sigma I square need to be estimated from mu I. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what we have, our information is DI. So in general, okay, we estimate mu I and sigma I square. From DI. Okay. So now from the samples, we need to estimate. Now let us see in what way we estimate. Okay, that we will see, discuss now. Okay, so to make our discussion notation simple, let D be the set having x1, sorry, x1 to whatever, okay, xn I am writing. This n is like not all samples. Okay, if you want, I will write xm itself to make our discussion common. Okay, so this is only one class samples. Assume that, because see, for each class samples, the parameters of it, that class only depend upon that class samples. So, but the problem, if I do one procedure if I get one procedure for class 1 sample, based on class 1 samples, the parameters estimation of class 1 samples, okay, the likelihood of parameters of the likelihood of class 2 samples can also be estimated in the same way, right? Similarly, any class I samples parameters can also be estimated in the similar way. Okay, so the procedure is same irrespective of the any number of classes. We just take corresponding samples of that class, estimate the likelihood parameters of that class. Is that clear? So I will drop the notation of class label from now on. Okay, unless very important, I will not mention it. So let D be samples of any given class. BD. Okay, so it can be class 1, class 2, or any class BD. Okay, then what we need? Need to estimate parameters of likelihood P of X given omega. Okay, I will write omega, but I think it is omega I will write, but it's omega I means DI I have to write here. Okay, also likelihood P of DI I will give, but I will drop this DI. Okay, please try to understand, because this DI is a I'm just taking here only I will write just to make you understand at the beginning. The likelihood of P of X given omega I. Corresponding likelihood, corresponding class. Okay, so what we discussed before is that you plot a rough, okay, histogram. Okay, so and then you, based on that, you find out the parameters. So let us see, assume that I will give you some samples just to start the discussion. Okay, assume that the samples are placed like this. Okay, samples are placed like this. Now, assume that given these samples, we anyway assume that we also want to fit P of X given omega, whatever omega or omega I, to normal distribution. Okay, mu comma sigma square. I am dropping these things. Omega also I will write here. Omega means omega 1 class. Okay, please remember. Okay, so we want to find mu and sigma square. We want to fit a normal distribution. Now let us start with a step-by-step procedure. let us start how to fix this mu. Okay, okay, mu is good. Fit. Okay. That's what we want to see for samples. Fit for what? For samples. What do we mean by good fit for samples? See, I will also remove this for time being. Okay, but what I want to see is which mu is good fit for these samples. That's what I want to see. What do we mean by good fit for samples? So how do we mathematically characterize this? Any idea on this? See, what I'm trying to say is
maximum.
Mu can be here, okay, or this is mu1. This can be another mu2. Okay, this can be another mu3. Okay, so any of these mu's are possible given these samples. Okay, now the question is, which is a better mu? Is this mu2? Okay, somebody is telling mu2. Why you are able to tell mu2 here? What is the reason you have said mu2? The mu2 is correct here. You give among the given ones. But what is the reason? Why did you tell it as mu2?
Because it has a higher density of samples in its periphery.
Because
it has a higher density of samples in its periphery.
Okay, fine, good. So essentially what we know is Gaussian density has the feature, okay, of having, say if we plot roughly the histogram, okay, it may be like this, okay. So our Gaussian density has a feature that the mu we have high density. That's why you are saying, okay, that is one way of saying. But I want to check based on all the samples, and I want to check irrespective of, say, whether it is Gaussian density or other density, whether this parameter, is it a good fit for these samples or not, for the given distribution P of x given omega. Okay, so I will
number of samples less than the mean and greater than the mean are equal.
No, that's very crude approach. See, the problem is we can't have separate solution for each and different distributions. For Gaussian, you know that, okay, the mean this side, that side, and so on, such things. Okay, we should not use that kind of thing. What information we have is P of x given omega 1. Omega for Gaussian distribution is defined as, okay, root 2 pi sigma. This information we know. E power minus, okay, x minus mu whole square, okay, by sigma square. This information is known to us. And further given is, so set D for us, where x1, okay, x2, and so on up to xm. One dimension we are taking. These samples are given. Okay, this is given. So this is given for us. Given informations. Mathematical form is given. Okay, likelihood form is given. Form is math form, mathematical form. Okay, given these two, okay, the question is, what is best mu? Okay, assume that sigma square is also given. Okay, for time being, okay, assume that, okay, sigma square is also given. Okay, for now, the question is, what is best mu that fits or agrees with what? With all D for given P of x given omega and sigma square anyway. That is the question. Is the question clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now how do we get that? That is the question now. Any answers? See, what essentially has to happen, if I take any mu, okay, I assume that I take this mu. Then if I put this mu here, okay, what I have with me, okay, is P of, okay, x given omega, I will write it as, with given mu, 1 by root 2 pi sigma e power minus x minus mu, say mu given I will write for time being, okay, whole square by sigma square. Okay, this likelihood, what should it do? It has to agree with all the samples. Okay, what do we mean by agreeing with all the samples? It has to be a good fit for all the samples. Means what?
Means that when you put a particular x value in this particular formula, the p of x omega theoretically which comes out of the mathematics and the p of x omega which we already have to the sample should be same.
Right. So we should, yeah. In other words, most of the samples, see, when will that happen? See, this histogram, whichever I am plotting here, okay, is based on what? Class frequencies. That means more samples are there at that location. Okay. So how am I plotting this? More samples are there at this location means that I will have a peak. Okay. So that means what should happen if this is the correct density? Okay. If I keep substituting these samples,
Then p of x given omega should maximize it mu.
maximize sample for only one, this sample or which sample? All these put together. That means if I put all the samples, okay, for product of these likelihoods, if I see, it has to be maximum. That means it has, all the samples has to satisfy this. Okay. In fact, okay, P of, see, let me move on to the next page. So D as we defined as x1 to xm, right? Okay, so what should essentially happen is all the samples D has to fit, okay, for this, okay, has to be, has to agree with this. That means this P of D given omega has to be maximum, okay, for that mu. Okay, if that mu is, okay, best mu, a mu star we will write. Okay, that I am expanding this just for clarity. P of x1 given omega into P of x2 given omega, okay, into on so on P of x, sorry, I am writing subscript again now, x1 given omega. What are these things? X1, x2 here. P of xm given omega. What are these x1 to xm? Samples. Please note that these are not features, okay, of different features of a same sample. Previously we had x equal to x1 to xd, right? So they are features of a same sample. Okay, but here they are different samples. Okay, this is 1 to x1 to xm. Okay, so previously what we discussed is x1 to xd, but these are all maybe for a single sample. Okay, so that distinction you keep it in mind. Because these notational things after a while, okay, I will drop also. Okay, you should be very clear on this. Correct or not? So do you agree with this? The form, mathematical form with which I have taken this mu, okay, with which I have defined this mu given, okay, or this mu to be found, fine, either mu given or mu to be found, has to well agree with all the samples. That means it has to, okay, explain the corresponding class frequency plot. Well, it has to match, as somebody said, okay, both will match whenever the, like, the probabilities given by class frequencies and the probabilities given by this agree with the given mu. Okay, it depends upon mu, right? Because see, if I fit a Gaussian with other mu, assume that if I fit a Gaussian with other this mu, then this Gaussian will be like this. Will this agree with these samples? With these samples? If I fit a Gaussian with mu1, it is like this. Do you think will this agree with this? These samples, given samples? Yes or no?
No.
No. So that's the, so now this is mu1, assume that. Okay, and this is mu2, let it be. I am just trying to put the corresponding colors. Okay, and mu3, let it be like this. With mu3, if I make a Gaussian, it may be like this. Okay, So will this agree? This also doesn't agree. So what we want to see is, if I consider a Gaussian with this mu, that agrees well with the sample distribution. Okay, that is being ensured by maximizing P of D given omega with respect to different possibilities of mu's. Okay, among different possibilities, whichever mu maximizes this that the match between the sample distribution and the Gaussian distribution defined by that mu is the correct mu. Do you agree or not? Huh?
Sir, how are we capturing this matching property, sir? Because even if you use some other mu, okay, you will be okay. I understand. Sir.
So if you put it here, I don't know where it matches. That's why I'm formulating as a mathematical problem. See, if I need to keep all possible mu's, then it's a like X has to search. So I can't do that. So that's why I'm putting it as a maximization problem. Fine. If I put it as a maximization problem, what benefit do I have? If I put it as a maximization problem, okay, how do you think I will solve for mu star now? Mu star is obtained by what? Huh?
We can differentiate the other side and we obtain the maximum.
Differentiate with respect to what?
Differentiate with respect to mu. Because that is
right, equate to 0. That's all. Let us do that. But before that, let us have a discussion little more on this. See, I want to just rewrite these things. See, in each of, say, P, let us take one P of, okay, X I given or whatever, X given omega. In this, what we said before, it is Xi given omega. Okay, Xk given omega. Let the notation be K here. Kth sample I have taken. Okay, I just want to see how this substitution, okay, can be done. So I have taken now P of Xk given omega. So now somebody can help me to expand this and write. Can somebody help? Sigma given here. What should I write?
Xk minus mu.
Right, very good. Xk minus mu I have to write. Okay, and sigma square. What is this mu and sigma corresponds to? What are this mu and sigma? Are parameters of what? Of which likelihood?
General likelihood.
General likelihood means? Are they for all the classes?
Class 1.
To class 1? Are they specific to class 1? Huh? Which class? Okay, so they are parameters of likelihood corresponding to samples D. So if D corresponds to class 1, they are parameters of class 1. If D corresponds to class 2, they are parameters of class 2. Okay, is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, isn't this method specific for Gaussian distribution?
No. That's what is the elegance. See here, nowhere, till now I have not considered Gaussian distribution anywhere. Just now only I'm just saying that for expansion or solving, I'm using Gaussian distribution now. Or for making understanding, I'm bringing Gaussian distribution.
But we actually set out to find mu and sigma. And only in Gaussian distribution, you can get the distribution from mu and sigma, no, sir.
Right. So now, okay. So if you have that confusion, I will do one thing. So I will change the parameter. So assume that P of, okay, X given omega is in general parametric form. So let it be exponential distribution as well. So in that case, what may happen? Say P of X given omega may be, okay, so e power minus, okay, lambda into X, right? So what 1 by lambda, I think, if I'm correct. If don't bother about normalization factors, but assume that this is the distribution. Okay, so if this is the distribution, exponential distribution I have in my hand. Okay, this let it be mod. Okay, so this is the distribution if I have. Still, even in this case, what is the parameter of this distribution?
Yes, sir.
Oh, in this case, what is the parameter of distribution?
Lambda, sir, lambda.
Lambda. Okay, so now what I want to find, see, in general, the samples are like this. They are very crowded here. Okay, they are going off on the other sides. So they roughly be like this. Assume that they are roughly like this. Okay, they are following exponential distribution. Okay, assume that. So now I want to find the parameter of this likelihood. Okay, samples of class 1 may be following this distribution. Samples of class 2 may be following Gaussian distribution. It can also happen. Okay, samples of P of x given omega 2 are following Gaussian distribution. Okay, P of x given omega 1 are following exponential distribution. Okay, so in this case, I want to find out the parameter lambda for class 1 and mu and sigma square for class 2. Okay, so in general, what I want to find out a parameter theta, okay, in a given distribution. So what I will write is P of x given, okay, omega, I will rewrite it as for this parameter estimation problems as theta comma omega. What this theta is, okay, parameters of likelihood. Okay, these parameters can be, theta can be lambda for exponential, okay, mu comma sigma square together, or any of them for Gaussian, and so on. Is this clear now? Even in this case, what I do, I formulate P of x given omega 1 instead of expanding it as Gaussian. Okay, in this case, after this step, instead of expanding it as Gaussian, I will expand it as exponential and substitute them here. Is this clear or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, this is clear.
Right. So this is the better form, in fact, people use for writing the likelihood density. Okay, when parameter estimation is discussed. So here what we are trying to see is, okay, so we are trying to see especially the likelihood of samples we want to define here. That's what we have defined in the first case. After that, we are trying to see, okay, the how to find the parameters of the given samples. Okay, find parameters of the likelihood for the given of corresponding to given samples. That's what we are doing to trying to do here. That means finding the parameters likelihood from samples. Okay, that's what we are discussing here. Okay, here the solution for that we found out to be the maximum likelihood estimation. See, where did maximum likelihood has come? See, we are finding the parameter that is the best parameter which will maximize the likelihood of all samples put together. Okay, that's why this is referred to as maximum likelihood estimation. Is this clear? If you maximize the likelihood of all samples, D, okay, with respect to the parameter, then that parameter is the one which will fit to the likelihood. Okay, in other words, any parameter theta star can be estimated by maximizing the likelihood of all samples, okay, fitting to that mathematical form with respect to that theta. Okay, that theta means whichever parameter you want to find. So theta comma omega. Is this fine now? I have written considering this form now. Okay, this is the important form. Okay, wherein for parameter estimation, because I want to show the influence or effect of theta directly here in the likelihood. Is this clear or not?
Sir, this is
Yeah.
clear. I have one more doubt. Like, sir, yesterday we discussed that plotting won't be practical for features with dimensions more than 2 or 3.
Right.
But then also, I mean, it's not usual for us to encounter feature vectors with less than that dimension. So,
Right.
still, are we trying to find the decision boundary?
Correct. Correct. That is true. So the elegance of this method is that this can be applied to any dimensions, even though we are describing or understanding it in one dimension. Okay. So because we are relying on maximizing the likelihood, and this likelihood now can be in say 2 dimensions. Okay. This can be in 3 dimensions or 10 dimensions. Doesn't matter. Okay. So each of the sample, when I substitute, it can be in 10 dimensional space. Okay. I will write the corresponding likelihood for each of these terms. Okay. We will see that example later. This is easily extendable to any dimension. Okay. In essence, what?
Yeah. Like when you're dealing with higher dimensions where you don't need to look at the diagrams or plots, can't we just find the probability of whatever feature we want at that point instead of finding the entire distribution?
Okay. See, in some cases, what will happen is, as I said, one reason for it is spurious samples. So usually we have hundreds of samples only in our hand, and this may not be general enough to describe the whole data. So people want to have a general approach, general fitting than a class specific fitting. See, if I give you 100 samples, you will get one solution. If I give you another 100 samples, another solution. Your variability in the solution keep changing if you just take by substituting the samples and maximizing the likelihoods and taking comparisons. Correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Training samples, if you change, the solution will change. But people don't want to have it all the time. You use as many number of training samples or as general training samples. I want a constant solution at the end. And that solution also should be explainable. Even if it is a multi-dimensions, if I make a mathematical model like Gaussian, whatever, okay, I can explain easily that, okay, this is the roughly class distribution for class 1. This is the roughly, I may not be able to visualize it anywhere, but I can visualize in my thinking, okay, saying that in each of the directions, this is the variance, this is the covariance between the features, okay, and so on. And this is the decision boundary roughly. Okay, class 1 samples are more probable in this. Class 2 samples are more probable in this, like that. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this now, in essence, what we are trying to do is to find out the best parameters of the likelihood. Okay, take all the samples, okay, of that corresponding class, okay, wherein you want, for which likelihood you want to find. Okay, so and then write explicitly the function of theta with which you want to estimate. Okay, that with respect to that you maximize. Now, since this is more dominant to be shown as parametric in theta, people even skip this omega and write P of D given theta. Okay, that means what we are trying to do in maximum likelihood estimation is given a likelihood form, okay, parameterize with respect to theta, which theta you want to find, and maximize, put all the samples there. Okay, the samples are the samples means we have the values of samples. Put all the values of samples there. Okay, maximize with respect to that particular theta to get the solution for theta. Okay, to make this clear, let us solve a simple problem. Okay, let me write this in more structured way. So now maximum likelihood estimation in essence says is maximize argmax theta. Okay, where we write the likelihood in parametric form of theta. And this expansion is, D means what? D means all samples of that class. Okay, x2 given theta and so on, P of xm given theta. Okay, so now let us take the problem that we started with. Same question. Okay, given D Okay, x1 to xm, and likelihood form as normal with theta. Here I have put sigma square given. Okay, this is given. That's why I have not put in theta. Theta can be a vector. The parameter theta can be a scalar or a vector. Okay, if I want to find only mu, then it is a scalar. If I want to find mu and theta sigma square, it is a vector. Okay, so theta in essence is equal to mu only. Okay, it's essentially find mu. Okay, by maximum likelihood estimation. Is the discussion clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us try to expand and solve for this to make the things clear. See what we said, we have to maximize. Okay, theta star we need to find by maximizing. See, most of the cases we take Gaussian density, okay, to consider, or exponential density also is the e power of something. So people, instead of maximizing directly argmax of, okay, p of d given theta, which is likelihood function, this is referred to as likelihood. Likelihood of what? Of all samples. Previously likelihood we were writing for a single sample. Okay, with respect to, now I have written with respect to theta. For a given theta, what is the likely that these samples fit in? Okay, so now previously I am more focused towards the likelihood of a class density, p of x given omega I. For this class, okay, will these samples, okay, will this feature, okay, be, if I take a value of feature, will that be in that class? That's what I was bothering later before. Now, will this theta be a better fit? Okay, that's what I'm trying to see. So then now it is likelihood of all samples with respect to theta. Instead of maximizing this, okay, this can also be maximized as mathematical aspect. People take it as log of or ln. Okay, log e, people take e power theta, d given theta. So this is referred to as what? Log likelihood. Instead of maximizing likelihood, people maximize the log likelihood. Okay, and this is referred to as L of theta in simple form. Okay, in its simpler notation, people refer to this as L of theta. Okay, so if you want to apply maximum likelihood estimation, the first step is formulate L of theta. Okay, then after formulating L of theta, and then what? Then d L of theta by d theta you take, okay, and put that to 0, equate to 0 to find theta star. Okay, this is how maximum likelihood solution is formed. Okay, let us see now for a Gaussian case. First, I want to write L of theta. I need some help to from you to write this L of theta for Gaussian case. Can one of you tell now, given these scenarios? L of theta is ln of, okay, I write ln short form, p of, okay, x1 given theta, mu I am writing here directly, okay, here theta is equal to mu. Okay, so I am using interchangeably. In fact, I can write it also. P of x2 given mu, and so on, P of xm given mu. Fine. Ln for all. Okay. So now if I expand this, ln of this, ln of this, and so on. So ln of, let me compute here itself, 1 by, yeah, I request now someone to convey. What should I write here? 2 pi sigma. What should I write here? E power minus half
x1 minus mu
x1 minus mu by
whole
sigma
square.
into again what? 2 pi sigma e power minus half x2 minus mu by sigma square. Okay.
So it's
In-
x1 minus mu whole square. No, sir.
Yeah, very good.
The sigma should not have square again.
I will put sigma. Okay, I think I have written this also wrong. Oh, x2, right? It is not square. Okay. Please note that. So this superscript, the problem is this. Root 2 pi sigma. What should I write? E power minus half xm minus mu by sigma whole square. Fine. So now, can some of you tell how do I simplify this? I want to write a simplified version of this.
So we can take 1 by 2 pi root 2 pi and sigma like side, like it's 1 by root 2 pi power n by 2 and sigma power n.
Pi power n m by 2. Okay. Sigma power m. Okay. Into what? E power.
Minus half into sigma xi minus
Right.
my.
Yeah. But remember this. So what I'm writing is L of theta. Okay. Ln of 1 by 2 pi whole power m by 2. Okay. And then sigma power m. E power minus half. Yeah. x1 minus mu by sigma square. So I will write here. Okay. In simplified notation. Sigma xk minus mu whole square by sigma square. Is this correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now let me simplify this. So minus, okay, I ln of 2 pi, okay, whole power m by 2. So I will write anyway, m by 2 sigma power m. Okay, I can even simplify this, but I leave it. Minus half. Now what should I do after this? I have written this fine. After this, what should I do? What should I do after this?
Sir, we can, I think, discard the first term because it doesn't really affect.
Very good. So
Yeah.
what theta star I want to find, or mu star. Okay. How do I find? D by d mu of argmax I have to do. Okay. D by d mu of L of theta or L of mu is equal to 0. Found by, okay, this. So for doing this first term, as he said, we can neglect because it's not, it is, okay, independent of theta. Independent of theta here is mu. See, if I sigma square also, if I want to find, I can't neglect it. Please note that. Okay, because here I only want to find mu, I am neglecting it. And then differentiation of this, what? 2 sigma m equal to 1 to m. Okay, what should I do now? 2 times xk minus mu. Okay, by sigma square, I will bring it here, is equal to 0. Is this correct or not? This implies what? Mu hat, okay, mu star or mu hat I will write, is equal to what? Is equal to, can somebody tell quickly? Is this correct? Is this correct or not? Yes or no? I am not hearing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what you simplify this because the summation will of m times mu is mu. Okay, this if you write here, okay, sigma sk minus mu is equal to 0. That's what you get. Okay, equal to 1 to m. So this is what I have got as this. Okay, so this is how we can do. But now what I request or suggest you people to do is, okay, in case in the sigma square is also on. Or theta is equal to mu comma sigma square. Put together these two. Okay, are the vector of having mu and sigma square. So in that case, okay, how do you find out the sigma square by MN estimation? Okay, you attempt to do that. Okay, in the Monday's class we will discuss. We will also discuss on the multivariate Gaussian density. Okay, finding the parameters of multivariate Gaussian density. We will also try to see another density, if possible, any other density, and we will wind up this maximal Allegro distribution. Thank you then. Thank you then.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I was dropped, I think, right in between.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but up to derivation, it was there, I hope, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine then, bye. We will discuss.
Hi, sir. My name is Alok. Actually, one of my batchmate told that you were looking for me. I'm from MTech CS 2020.
No, it's not me. I think some of the TAs may be asking for you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Suravardhan or say Vaishnavi or somebody. Okay, might be looking say for some.
Sir, nothing is there, sir.
Okay. Then I think
we didn't ask about anything. Maybe some other faculty, maybe.